Straya. How are you going? Hang on. Are you going all right? You should be. Why is that, Jim? I don't know what that sound was, but it was pretty good. Why should you? I don't know. It's Monday, June 29. The start of school holidays in Victoria. I'll tell you what. Good times. This is NBA Straya. I'm your host, James Clements, here in Larry Armour Studios. And I'll tell you what. The Phoenix Suns have done it again. What have they done, Jim? Something weird. Stop doing weird stuff, you weirdos. All right, we're talking all the trade chaos from today. WTF are Phoenix doing? No one knows. Jaylen Brown, question mark. That's about it. But also the rest of it, we'll sort of go through all the big things that are happening right now. Kawhi, Jaylen Brown, the insanely weird Phoenix trade, the sort of, I don't know, the washed out of the LaMelo Ball trade, but also free agency starts on Wednesday. So we'll do a quick free agency primer. Basically, who matters, what might happen, and then our 5 big fun predictions that'll happen in the next week or so. So that'll be fun. Yeah. At least I hope it is. So I guess we should just bloody well get into it, shouldn't we? Yes, Jim, we should. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Episode 1424 of NBA Straya. Let's go.
This is Josh Giddey.
G'day, this is Andrew Gaze.
This is Jack White.
This is Joe Ingles.
This is Dyson Daniels.
This is Chris Anstey.
This is Matthew Delvedova.
This is Shane Hill.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening and watching NBA Straya.
This is NBA Australia. Let's do it.
Watch out for the shark attack.
You better. Or you better watch out for the attack of, I don't know, tired dads everywhere. School holidays is brutal. Having both the squids today was like one's fine. The two, you just like, geez, it's a bit. But they were fine. I'm just a bit cooked. Big weekend. 28 days on Friday night along with Area 7. What a show that was. Oh, Lord. Absolutely had a great time. Bit of, hanging out, a few tins. Went to the footy on Saturday. Watched the mighty Blues get their 6th straight win. Can you believe it? No. Had a great time with the squid there. More tins. We're up in Ballarat for my grandmother. Her birthday's tomorrow. Happy birthday, Mary. Avid NBA Australia listener. Turning 95, I think. 94 or 95, one of the two. Either way, it's a bloody long innings. She's doing great. And yeah, just a bit cooked by the time it all sort of finished. And then, yeah, you're just like, oh, God, hanging out with the squids all day with like no buffer. It's like, old mate's gone. She's not coming back. Until like 5:30. So just eyeballing the two of them, like, oh, pull your heads in. It is like, I love it. It's very fun. I'll get into the NBA stuff eventually. Maybe. Hashtag Dad Straya. It is really fun, being a dad. And like, especially what you I feel like you're always sort of trying to do is to try to, the good shit that you remember from being a kid. Right. And what your parents were good at and, what you responded to and like all the good stuff. And you're just sort of trying to do a bit more of that. You're just trying to do that. You're just trying to, not that, your folks made any mistakes or anything. It's just like, from what you remember, you're just trying to do the things that you like. And you're trying to avoid the bad stuff. Not that there was much bad stuff. It's just bad stuff for me was just like, parents being late for stuff. And I am just like, no, we're not being late for anything. And so, yeah, it gets the kids in a bit of a, rush a lot of the times. They get a little bit antsy about it, but they're really, really good at it now. So it's actually worked out. But yeah, when you've got the two squids and they're both boys and like basically their natural state is punching on, it does present a very unique set of challenges. Like, you get outside, you pull your head in. Like, it's just a lot of that. You know, you're out there, let's go kick the footy. Trying to get them working out that energy so they're not just punching on, they're sort of putting that energetic, chaotic vibe to good use by beating the shit out of each other playing football or basketball or something. The big problem is they're not at a point where they can play together like playing sport, because one will get the footy or the basketball, the other one just beat the shit out of them to get it back. So, yeah, we've got some challenges, but she'll be right. 7 and 3. It is a very strange age mix, but it all works out. Send me your favourite dad Straya vibes at the moment, because I'll tell you what, need it. I'm just going to run them ragged as much as we can. We're going holidays next week as well, up to Queensland, FNQU, Jim. Yeah, where are we going? Mission Beach this year, which is pretty good. Airlie Beach last year, which is awesome. And up to Mission Beach next week. So, you know, programming note. I'm hoping free agency is done by the weekend so I can just piss off and you don't hear from me for 2 weeks and it doesn't matter. So, yeah, looking forward to that. But it's also just like staring into the abyss of like, oh, God, just got to run them ragged in like the pool and at the beach and stuff. Should be right, though. Should be right. Anyway, hey, we should talk about basketball. What do you reckon, Jim? Oh, yeah, maybe. Maybe. Let's do the daily whip round. There you go. Yeah, look, Phoenix.
What was that? What the hell was that?
It's got a couple of trades, and the big one is Miles Bridges being traded to the Phoenix Suns. And you might go, geez, Jim, that's pretty good. You hate that guy. I do, because he's a piece of shit. The Phoenix Suns, though, what are you doing? So, the Hornets traded Miles Bridges along with a 2029 first-round pick, which I'll get to in a minute, as well as a 2027 second-round pick to the Phoenix Suns. So the Hornets gave the Suns, Miles Bridges, a 2029 first-rounder and a second-rounder. Whoa! And the Suns give up and send back to the Charlotte Hornets Grayson Allen, a bloke that I have mouthed off to in person, Royce O'Neal, and an unprotected 2033 first-round pick. Lord.
This is horrible. There's no other way to put it.
Who were they bidding against, Jim? Nobody knows. And the answer is probably no one. So that 2029 pick. But, Jim, they got a first rounder back as well. Yeah. It is quite feasibly a wildly shithouse first rounder that they're getting in 2029. Because they added... There's like this swapping that's going, and this is my big thing, right? About all these fucking pick swaps. It's just stupid. And my entire thing has been for so long, Outback Takehouse is stealing Santa rules for these fucking draft picks. You can't be traded, the pick can't be traded more than twice, right? We're fucking done here. So, essentially, the Hornets threw their own pick, essentially themselves into this group of teams where it's, suddenly, they've got the pick of the bunch between Utah, Minnesota, Cleveland, and now their own pick, right? So instead, that's the least favorable now of all those picks that goes to Phoenix in the 2029 NBA draft. Utah, Minnesota, Cleveland, Charlotte. Utah look fucking like loaded for bear with awesome young talent. Who knows in 2 years' time, but Minnesota just traded for LaMelo Ball, don't forget. Cleveland are just very, very, still very good. And Charlotte are we're on the ascent. But essentially, if Charlotte's the best team of all that, they still get the best pick. Like, they're fine. Even though they sent that pick out. So Charlotte Charlotte keeps their pick if it's better than any of Utah, Minnesota, Cleveland, and Phoenix get the worst out of all of it, which is incredible. So why would they do this, Jim? And the answer is who? Well, Phoenix. Why would Phoenix give up an unprotected 2033 first rounder for Miles fucking Bridges? They're morons? At no point throughout the Miles Bridges tenure in Charlotte has anyone gone, whoa, building block. Right? He is the most fucking empty stats dude you'll ever see in your fucking life. Oh, but Jimmy averaged 17 points a game. His steal rate was one of the single fucking worst in the entire NBA. Also, he's a piece of shit, so fuck him. Like, I don't want him on my team. Like, if you're a Phoenix Suns fan, you're like, oh, great. He's like a pretty young forward who we can sort of, add to this burgeoning nut. He's just a dickhead. Right? He's 28 now. He's only got 1 year left on that contract as well, right? So their entire thing is, oh, well, we'll extend him. It's like, oh, God. You're just fucking doubling down. I did like that the best explanation of this trade is that Michigan State, that's a college. That's where he went. It's also where Matt Ishbia went. It's also where I think their coach and their GM was also involved there as well. So it's all a big Michigan State kind of vibe. And it sort of just ignores the fact that he's a big old piece of shit. Like, he's a talking human fucking turd. Like, domestic abuse, domestic assault, fuck him. Absolute piece of shit. Fire him into the sun. And they've kind of done that, I guess, by sending him to Phoenix. Good one, Jim. Yeah, fucking off the top of my head, that was pretty good. So, yeah. Bloke is on an expiring contract. No one else was giving it up unprotected first for fucking Miles Bridges. Great job, Phoenix. Covering yourselves in glory once again. Flip side for Charlotte, they get Grayson Allen just down the road from his old alma mater. Remember, he went to Duke, one of the most hated men in all of America in his pomp. Now he can continue his transition into just turning into Mike Krzyzewski. Like, he already looks like him. You cannot convince me that he's not the love child of Coach K. Allegedly. According to me. Who's alleging it? Nothing sus. Something definitely sus. He looks exactly fucking like... Why do we not talk about this more? It's weird. It's fucking weird how much he looks like Coach K. Grayson Allen, Coach K, do the face swap. It's the fucking same face. It's so fucking suspicious. Anyway. So he's now back in North Carolina where he, went to Duke and had a great old fucking time. Royce O'Neal's there as well. He's like, hello, I'm Royce O'Neal. Everyone's like, oh, it's good to have Royce O'Neal here, I guess. And then he'll hit a couple of threes in a game that's important. You're like, oh, it is good to have Royce O'Neal. But suddenly Charlotte just go, yeah, we've got Naz Reid. We've got Grayson Allen. We've got Royce O'Neal. And we gave up LaMelo and that prick Miles Bridges. Essentially just going, hey, Kobe White, you going to fucking run this show or what? Hans Christian Andersen, you better go off your head. But essentially as well, like, they've got all these young bigs. I talked about this the other day during the draft sort of wrap. And you're like, suddenly they've got a lot of dudes in the front court that need to play. Right? Because you've got Moose Diabate. You've got Ryan Kalkbrenner, who was very good last year. You just drafted Hannes Steinbach, a big fellow who eats up rebounds, and you traded for Naz Reid in the LaMelo Ball deal. And he's like, I'm a starting power forward. Hooray, it's finally happened. And so they just pissed off Miles Bridges. And again, I can't believe that they got a fucking unprotected 2033 first rounder out of this. That's absurd. That is amazing. That is, I think, the short sort of sighted nature of everything that Phoenix have done since Ishbia came in, like even re-signing most of their team back up this offseason. It's like, all right, we're going to run this back. There is not a bigger candidate for falling off the fucking face of the planet than the Phoenix Suns next season, I reckon. It's just all sort of depending on how long you value the Dylan Brooks, an angry tide lifts all boats. Can you imagine Dylan Brooks and Miles Bridges in the same locker room? Jesus, that just sucks. It's like, hey, here's all the worst people. Maybe you should trade for Draymond Green as well. He went to Michigan State, didn't he? Bang, look at that. Ishbia's on the phone right now. I'll give you Devin Booker for Draymond. Anyway, but yeah, look, an unprotected 2033 first. You don't know what the fuck's going to happen in 7 years, obviously. And to take like Sacramento or Phoenix, I think having their future assets, you just got to feel fucking great about it. Right? Brooklyn is sitting going, we traded KD to those idiots. He was gone within a year. So, yeah, Miles Bridges, he'll probably be fine in Phoenix. The guy fucking sucks. He just fucking sucks. And then you put him next to Jaylen Green. Again. Not exactly a stand-up fucking lovable dude. Dylan Brooks, Devin Booker, Mark Williams, who they've re-signed, Cole Gillespie, Jordan Goodwin, Mark Williams, awesome. They're just... You look at the West and you're like, why do you think that competes? That's weird. Stop being weird, you weirdos. And the Hornets, the flip side for them is just kind of clearing the decks. After the LaMelo trade, you've got all these young dudes. You've still got Brandon Spindles Miller. You've got Connie Nips. And you're just basically trying to rebuild from the bottom up, kind of on the fly. You've got a shit ton of future assets as well. And you're like, can we still be fun, like with Kobe White and Hans Christian Andersen running the fucking show instead of LaMelo Ball? The answer is probably not as much fun. But at the same time, you might be a better team in the end. Because LaMelo, look, dumb as a bag of bricks. We get it. Very entertaining, dumb as a bag of bricks. But still, maybe they'll be better in the end. But this is a massive win, I think, for the Charlotte Hornets, just snagging an unprotected first for Miles fucking Bridges. And look, the Suns, he'll be flying around. He's super athletic. We get that. But he's also a fucking piece of shit. And enjoy that, Phoenix. So, yeah. I have no idea what the Suns are doing. It makes very little sense to me. Right? What an absolute shit show that's been. Whereas Charlotte, they just keep fleecing teams. I think that Minnesota trade is fucking crazy good for Charlotte now. And yeah, LaMelo, look, I think the one thing, and I mentioned this at the top, like to revisit the LaMelo thing the other day, the thing I guess I didn't bang on about enough is like he's so much of an injury risk as well. Like Charlotte just going, we're good, is such a red flag, right? He's like a fucking superstar entertainer. He's a star player, right? And this is what we talked about with the superstar player designation for me is like, are you winning shit? Have you won stuff? And the answer very clearly is no. And but he is a superstar entertainment product when he plays. And Charlotte have just gone, we are fine, slipping a little bit further back into irrelevance rather than being at the forefront of 11-year-old boy culture by trading this motherfucker because we have no clue whether or not he's going to stay healthy. You know? Again, as I've said before, like when you're knocking up your 37-year-old girlfriend and calling your child La1 Ball, which again is child abuse, if you ask me, I'd fucking trade the guy as well. So peace out, LaMelo. Peace out. The other trade that I really liked for Detroit was them picking up Isaiah Joe for fuck all. 2 second rounders is what it cost him. OKC are doing this thing where they shed a bunch of money because they're being, responsible with all this money that they're about to fork out. But also, right, like they're doing this thing where the owners are like, having taken and stolen my beloved Seattle Supersonics, they're like, all right, Sam Presti, we won the title 2 years ago. Let's not pay $350 million for a team for this year in payroll. Fucking hell. And that's where they're at or about, right? So they ship off Isaiah Joe to Detroit where he fits fucking beautifully in Detroit. Shot finisher, shot taker, shot maker, right? Can give you a little bit on D. It's not going to give you too much like playmaking and stuff, but I love Isaiah Joe for the cost in Detroit. That's fucking massive. If they miss out on like Norm Powell, like even just adding Isaiah Joe is very, 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 very handy. But for OKC, that's $11.3 million off the books. That goes on top of the Wiggins $9 million off the books. And the 7 and a bit of Kenrick Williams, right? That's off the books as well because they declined his team option. So that's $27.5 million of salary on OKC. Because of the luxury tax, it ends up being their luxury tax goes down by $189 million. So it adds up to $216 million in savings because they shave off the $27.5 mil. That's $189 mil in luxury tax gone as well. Boom. So they're now only $18 mil above the second apron. Are they going to try to get under that? Probably. Payroll, I think, is still at like $340, which is crazy. But you can just say goodbye to Lou against Dort, I guess, and away you go. Because I guess the other thing that they did over the weekend was re-sign AJ Hartenstein. Hello. In one of the most ball-gargling shams moments. That guy is fucked. I hate him. These are the two agents who signed the deal. Oh, they're awesome, those two agents. Yeah, no one fucking shut up, Shams. No one cares about the agents. You're just glazing them. You're polishing their nuts with your fucking tongue, you weirdo. Well, not to say that polishing nuts is wrong. Go nuts, but just don't pretend to be a journalist at the same time whilst doing it. So Hartenstein re-signs like this 3-year, $75 million sort of extension, and he reports as like, oh, well, he's made 5 years, 135 since he got there. What? We've never reported fucking contracts like that in the history of the fucking sport, you idiot. Shams, stop gargling nuts. It's fucking weird, dude. Don't do it on the tweet machine. So anyway, basically OKC have just cut off little bits and bobs at the end of their roster that are kind of maybe a little bit superfluous to needs. They didn't need Aaron Wiggins. They didn't need Isaiah Joe. They didn't need Kenrick Williams, right? With the emergence of AJ Mitchell, and they get Jared McCain for a bag of fucking peanuts. You have Isaiah Hartenstein. They've already got a bevy of other fucking draft picks that they've brought in as well that are on the cheap. Remember Nikola Topic? Yeah, right. You got all these dudes. So yeah, great stuff. OKC, that's fine. Cut your fucking payroll. Hope you're healthy next year. They're probably going to win the title. Detroit, though, I love it. I love this. Just getting a dude who can shoot the piss out of it even a little bit is pretty bloody nice for them, right? Because it's exactly what they sort of need off that bench. And, he's built like a little fucking tank and can fucking ball out. What did he shoot last year on threes? 42.3%. Jesus. Not bad. 21 minutes. He averaged an 11 point, 2.5 rebound, 1.3 assist, 0.7 steal. I love Isaiah Joe in Detroit. So that's pretty good. All right. So that's the stuff that's happened. Jim, what else is going on? Lots is going on. What do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about Kawhi? Jaylen Brown, LeBron James. Other shit? I don't know. Let's start. I guess Kawhi's Jaylen Brown's the big one. And it's sort of I'll talk about it more. Let's knock over Kawhi. Because Kawhi is just a fucking weird unit. He's a fun guy. So what's happening here is there's a lot of Kawhi rumors floating around. And apparently it's because a Kawhi trade would not be stopped by the league office because they have no balls. And remember how they started investigating almost 12 months ago the salary cap circumvention allegations. And they still haven't done anything about that. That's some great work. Well done, Adam. Unbelievable. So yeah, despite the investigation into salary cap circumvention surrounding him, they can trade him, which seems completely above board and nothing sus. So apparently the Mavs and the Clippers have talked. So you can imagine Kawhi going to Dallas for PJ Hamilton, Washington, Klay Thompson, draft picks. I guess that's sort of, if you want to really, really fucking throw your hat in the ring in the West with Kyrie, Cooper Flagg, and Kawhi Leonard, Derek Lively, Dan Gafford, Najee Marshall, with Kawhi Leonard, shit, fuck, I don't mind that. I just don't think that's going to happen because it sounds like the Toronto stuff is much more on board, right? So you got to remember Masai as well is now running Dallas. And he's like, hey, I brought this guy in for 1 year. He won me a bloody title and made me a lot of fucking money. Definitely not Masai's accent, but that would be very funny if he was like the most Aussie dude ever. Still, Toronto, however, they could add Spindles Ingram, some other bits and bobs, Grady Dick, I guess, you know. But really, essentially, I like that they're like, oh man, we'd like to get Brandon Ingram because if we got him, we'd stay good and relevant. It's like, would ya? Okay, if you believe that, LA, I can see how you've gotten into this predicament. Because, I don't know, him back in Toronto would be funny as shit. But it is crazy that Kawhi has very clearly looked around the West and gone, I just played my most healthy season in a bajillion years. And we did not make the playoffs. That guy's fucking cooked. Seriously. The whole Kawhi thing, if you've listened to NBA Australia, you know my sort of stance on him. I think he's a very good basketball player. I tend to think, and this is one of my long-held beliefs, that the other shit matters in sport, right? You can be a weird fucking loner. You can do all that. But you can't also be like the super-duper star who, you know, is just an absolute weird unit that has no responsibility or no sort of compunction to take responsibility for their team, for their team's performance, for all that shit. And that's what Kawhi's done, right? It's just fucking weird. And I want no bar of it. Thing is, if you bring him into like Dallas for like a year, because it doesn't sound like he wants to sign an extension, Detroit is the most ideal landing spot for Kawhi in the history of the fucking world as well, by the way. And if I'm them, I'd be like, hell yeah. 1 year rental. If we've got Cade, Duran, if we've got Thompson, if we've still got a couple of our dudes, we can cause some fucking havoc if we just add Kawhi. And they could. Dallas, it's a little bit tougher. But again, puncher's chance. Who knows what could happen if you've got a healthy Kyrie, Kawhi, a couple of bigs, a couple of decent wings, and away you go, and a Cooper flag. But still, it seems like, yeah, the Raptors kind of like the ones that might be leading. And essentially, it sort of comes down to this simple idea of like, yeah, apparently they haven't sort of really gone out there, and a lot of the sort of interest is external, but the Clippers are listening. So we might have a Kawhi trade in the next couple of days. That'd be pretty funny, I guess. I also find it just weird. I feel like the Clippers have just... He is outside of the salary cap allegations of just getting free money. That dude has just stolen money from Steve Ballmer for like the last, 5 years. That is just wild, isn't it? Barely showing up to work. Somehow he's used all of his holiday days, all of his sick days, and his RDOs. Like, it's crazy how Kawhi's pulled that off, but good on him. Make your money, Kawhi, I fucking guess. What's your legacy, Kawhi? I'm a weird unit who won 2 finals MVPs. So where does he go? I mean, when there's smoke, there's fire, obviously, when it comes to the NBA, so I think something does probably happen. It would be hilarious if Detroit just swanned in and like did a Toronto and went, we don't fucking care if he doesn't want to sign an extension. We've got him for this year. Sick, bro. The stuff that they'd have to send out, though, who knows what you'd have to do. I'm not going to fucking mortgage the farm. But yeah, the Raptors would instantly be so much better with Kawhi back on the team next to Scoob. If you're pissing off Ingram and some other fucking dudes, they clearly want to keep RJ and Scotty Barnes. You add Kawhi next to that, you've got a weird fucking funky ass like East team, right? And like the East is full of them all of a sudden. So puncher's chance again. They've done it before. Who knows? So there you go. Toronto would be the guess, obviously. Be funny if somebody else like just jumped in there and went, Kawhi, you are a Golden State Warrior. You know? Like the Dallas, when that popped up, I'm like, shit, that's not a bad idea. Anyway, other stuff that's going on. Jaylen Brown. Have you heard much about this? Fuck me dead. Some sort of like basketball holy war is now broken out about Jaylen Brown. Analytics versus the eye test. The obvious, most reasonable take with all this shit is that analytics helps you explain some shit. The eye test helps you put it in context, right? It's all part and fucking parcel. I hate this either or bullshit. And David West coming and go, fucking analytics nerds. Jaylen Brown, analytics nerds. And then the analytics nerds going, Jaylen Brown to be the 7th best player on our team. It's like, you're a fucking idiot if you believe that. Finals MVP, bloke who led them to a title. Yeah, 7th best player. Shut up, idiots. I did like that. So Bobby Marks came back at it. Bobby Marks got dragged over the coals for saying, there's mixed feelings about it when you talk to teams. The analytics of Jaylen Brown is not good. I had one, not an executive, but an analytics guy say, yeah, we view him as the 7th best player on the team. I was like, holy crap. So, yeah, Bobby Marks, you're not executive analytics guy. Might be a fucking idiot if that's his model. Just saying. Because if you're just looking at shit like win shares per 48 or surplus value when it comes to your contract and now like Darko, Vorp, like shut up. 7th best player on our team. And then I love it is that Bobby Marks had to come out and defend himself. But what wasn't posted was the 2 minutes of saying I'm not an analytics person, but an eye test guy, that I would want Jaylen Brown on my team, that you impact winning 191 and 80 in the last 4 years, is a top 10 player, would help any team looking to win a championship. That part, of course, didn't make it, but that's the media in 2026. Yeah, but Bobby, you're also the fucking idiot who's like, the analytics, this guy, he said he was the 7th best player on a team. Can you imagine that? It's like, yeah, if you say shit, guess what? Talk shit, get hit, Bobby Marks. Shut up, nerd. Anyway, I did love there's other people out there saying, they talk about his on-off splits, his plus minuses, and like how every teammate is like 4 points per 100 for each of the, 4 points worse off per 100 possessions because of Jaylen Brown. But that's also because he's probably scoring more because he's very good. And you look at the other people like on that list, it's Luka. And anyway, this Hollywood was fucking stupid. Like to come out and say no player lowers the points that his teammates score while he's on the court with him more than Jaylen Brown is just like, okay. And how did that work out? Oh, that's right. They won a fuck ton of games. So Jesus fucking Christ. This shit is just the dumbest thing in the world. Anyway. The Jaylen Brown stuff, I've been sort of pretty bang on about. I would just fucking roll it back. I get Joey Muzz in a room with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and go, all right, bros, we're going to fucking sit here, man, and we're going to fucking figure this out. We're going to wash the town until we fucking figure this out. It could take fucking days, but I'll jiu-jitsu your fucking ass, bro, a couple of times over if I need to. I'm Joey Muzz. I'll fuck you up, bros. You can try and come at me, but I'm Joey Muzz. And they'd be like, fuck, yeah, coach is right. Joey Muzz just put them both in a bit of a headlock. Fuck them up. Go all full Matthew Guy. Politics, Jim. Good one. Yeah. But I've been bang on. I feel like just you look around the NBA and Tatum and Brown, they win the title in 24. Tatum does his Achilles the next year. He comes back this year after Jaylen Brown's best year where he's led this amazing ragtag bunch of very, very highly paid basketball players to the second best record in the East. Amazing work by Jaylen Brown. And it just seems like he's just pissy that everyone still thinks of it as Jason Tatum's team and not the Jaylen Brown team. And to that I say, fair point. But it's also because you keep going on live streams and being a fucking weird dickhead. Right? You know what Jason Tatum doesn't do? That. He's just a fucking weird unit. Oh, but he's such a great dad, is he? How often do you reckon he actually hangs out with Deuce? Again, one of my big bugbears, but still. Jaylen Brown's probably right to be pissy, and I do think it's, I want my own team. Hey, Jaylen, how do you think getting your own team is going to go? And Jason Tatum, if you were like, oh, it's okay, I'd like my brother Jaylen Brown to have his own team, how do you think that's going to go for you if we trade him for a bunch of bits and bobs that aren't as good as him? Do you think it's going to go better or worse? In the Celtics case, depending on who they got back, they might be a better all-round team. And Tatum might just have like the stand-up fucking I'm incredible, look at me. Coming off an Achilles though? All right, sure. Brad Stevens, balls of steel maybe. Whereas Jaylen Brown, to whomever he gets traded to, do you really think you'll be the best player on that team and then you're going to have that correct, proper, awesome infrastructure of the Celtics around you in this new spot and you'll be contending? I don't know, man. So at some point you're going to go, all right, yes, they tried to trade you for Giannis, but it's because you're very good. Maybe not as good as a 2-time MVP, right? So just everybody fucking take a big old sip of chill the fuck out juice and sit down. But that's not going to happen because it's the NBA. Egos run amok. People making fucking $60 million a year. Get fucked, right? Thing is, you then see like the ideas of like, all right, what do you go to Portland? And you're like, okay. Boston apparently have been asking for up to 4 first-rounders in return for Jaylen Brown. Portland is seen as one of the front runners. You've got New Orleans. You've got Denver. Apparently a Jamal Murray, Cam Johnson in exchange for Jaylen Brown and Sam Hauser. Vibe is out there. I still kind of call bullshit on that. It's like, oh, we got Jamal Murray and Cam Johnson for Jaylen Brown. Boston would be fucking delighted. Denver would be like, all right, now we got Jaylen Brown and Jokic, but we got Sam Hauser as well with Aaron. We don't have a point guard. Right? I don't know, man. Houston have sort of gone, well, Ime Udoka, they fucking loved each other. Yeah, they've already got a shit sandwich of Kevin Durant and Amen Thompson and Jabari Smith and a bunch of other shit. Who knows what could happen there? But I don't know. Like the Jaylen Brown situation just feels a weird summation of the current NBA where nothing's ever good enough, right? Tatum and Brown, I don't even know why Boston were like, oh, we should go get Giannis. Like Brad Stevens chucks a hissy fit at the end of the season like, we were never going to win anyway. It's like you fucking rushed Tatum back to a degree. Like he tore his Achilles. Who the fuck are we like trying to convince here that that's like a great idea to bring him back, run him back at like full fucking strength, shit ton of minutes, and then he hurts his calf in the playoffs. That's what happens, right? And so they run into a brick wall. It's not Jaylen Brown's fault they couldn't get past Joel Embiid. And that Peyton Pritchard and Derek White couldn't hit any fucking shots. So, yeah, I think it's a bit fucking weird. Like, Jaylen Brown, he was a top 10 player this year running the show. Would he be a top 10 player running the show for Brooklyn? No. No, he wouldn't, right? If you trade him to Brooklyn, he's not going to be as good as he was on Boston because he doesn't have as good players around him. They had a really solid bench. They had very good role players. They had a team that was already sort of built in his image, right, to work with him and Tatum, and they just adapted it to not have Tatum. So that's kind of like a big fucking contextual piece of this, I think. So he rocks up to fucking Denver and it's like, oh, cool, we got Jaylen Brown, one of the 10 best players in the NBA maybe. He was last year. Top 15 overall, if you ask me. Sure. But how's he work next to Jokic? If they don't have a fucking point guard, what's going on there? Chaos ensues. Portland, how does he work with, like, if you don't trade Denny, how does he work with Denny? He can space the floor a bit. He can shoot. He's fine. But the thing for me with Boston, it's like, yeah, you trade him away. Unless you're getting multiple pieces like something like a New Orleans deal, right, where you're getting Trey Murphy and Herb Jones, right, where you get a guy who can score a bit and is a decently sized wing, and then like a defensive, like a specialist who can do fucking some pretty decent shit in Herb Jones. But are you going to be able to pull that, trade off now? Would New Orleans even really give a fuck? Right? Oh, great. Now we've got Zion and DeJounte and Jaylen Brown. Awesome. I don't know, man. So the Jaylen Brown situation is very, very messy. I don't think it needs to be as messy. As soon as they decided they were going to, like, we could possibly trade Jaylen Brown for Giannis, they should have had 2 or 3 fallback trades that they should have just fucking pulled the trigger on straight away then, because now it's fucked it. Like, they're losing all their sort of leverage, their bargaining power, because everyone's realizing, oh, fuck, they probably have to trade him now, don't they? So we'll give him a little bit less when they ask. Fuck you, Brad Stevens, right? A bit of that. So, yeah, I think the Celtics have backed him into a bit of a shitty corner all of a sudden. I like Jaylen Brown. I think he's really good. I think contextually, though, he's better on Boston more than he'd probably be anywhere else. I think he and Tatum, if you're looking at the East, you're like, how are we going to beat the Knicks? Right? If we can add like a decent-ish kind of center behind Kate or with Cater, and if we can hope that Derek White has a bounce-back year next season, you've got 2 awesome wings, 2 superstar wings, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. That's probably how you get by a team like the Knicks or Cleveland, maybe Detroit. Who fucking knows next year, right? I don't know. But if you trade him for depth, you better make sure it's fucking good depth. Just saying. So I don't know. Do you like the Denver trade? I don't know. Jamal Murray, he was healthy this year. How'd that work out for Denver? And they've got Jokic already. Cam Johnson, oh great. He fucking sucked for the first 3 quarters of the season. Anyway, it is pretty interesting. He has got the most wins since he was drafted in the NBA. It's Jaylen Brown, ahead of Jokic, Harden, Gobert, Tatum, Tobias the Never Nude Harris, Giannis, Al Horford. Tobias Harris being on that list is hilarious. Al Horford, Brook Lopez, because he was on the Bucks for so long, and Draymond Green. Nice, that's a good list. Right, other stuff. LeBron James. I love a good rumor that apparently the Warriors are trying to trade for Anthony Davis and then sign LeBron, which is pretty funny. It's just like, we're getting the band back together, but with Steph and Draymond on the Warriors. You're like, what the fuck is going on here? AD, I can see it from his perspective that he's like, yeah, that'd be kind of sick, I guess, rather than being here in Washington with all these young dudes and Trey fucking Young. I don't know why the Wizards would do this, though, unless they're getting a bit of a haul back with a bunch of picks. Because what, you get Jimmy Butler's contract in there, you got to get a bunch more stuff, right? Even Moses Moody tore his ACL as well, right? So, yeah, they're just, I don't know, for the Wizards, I think I'd hold out for much, much more than that. So, but yeah, the AD LeBron on the Warriors situation would be very, like, Dad's Army kind of shit. Kind of love it. Very, very funny. Other stuff, Marcus Smart looking like he might decline his player option with the Lakers and go hang out with his old mate, Ime Udoka in Houston, which is very funny. It's like, oh, we need a table-setting point guard who can settle us all down. It's like, here's Marcus Smart. It's like, not like that. Get out of here, you. He's like, no, check this out. I'm going to win this game off my back. KD standing there going, just pass me the ball, Marcus. What the fuck you doing? That'd be great. Love it. Other stuff, I mean, Marcus Smart on Houston would, like, if Fred VanVleet comes back, there was actually news about Fred VanVleet that he's like, yeah, dude, I was never close to coming back. Because apparently he tore his ACL, blew out, both the fucking MCLs as well. And he's like, yeah, I just fucking blew up my knee. It's like, Jesus. So if Fred VanVleet comes back on a decent contract and you get Marcus Smart, you got a bit of a patchwork there along with Reed Shepherd. Suddenly you're looking okay, but I don't know. The Marcus Smart situation is always going to be a bit weird for me. Tim Hardaway Jr., Mike Conley Jr. are apparently Miami are chasing them pretty hard as like some veteran additions around Giannis and co there in the free agency. See what happens there. DeAndre Ayton, he's got a player option. Pretty interesting stuff there because it's like people are kind of expecting him to pick that up with the Lakers and stay there. It's like, I don't know. Maybe. It's like, I guess, I love the idea of the concept of like VORP, right? Value over a replacement player. And I feel like DeAndre Ayton, for being a number 1 pick, he's like exactly whelming. Right? I just, like, he's good, but he's not great. And he's not shit, but he's also average, but he's also not average, right? It's a very weird one. Because if you look at his numbers for the year, he averaged 12 and 8, and you're like, okay. But Jesus, it's like the most brutal 12 and 8 playing next to Luka and co. It's like you want to see better defensive numbers, like 1 block per game. I don't know, DeAndre, what are you doing, mate? His advanced numbers, there you go. His VORP is 0.6. Nailed it. Will he be back on the Lakers? Maybe. Johnny Isaac. Oh, he got waived. He'll probably go write a shit book about it. Jose Alvarado is going back to the Knicks on a 3-year, $14 million deal. Puerto Ricans everywhere celebrating. Ron Harper Jr. going back to the Celtics as well, getting a 3-year extension, one of those El Cheapo ones, like the 3-year, $9 million sort of ones. And away we go. And that's kind of like the newsier shit of that sort of stuff, right? I guess Jock Landale, there's also been a little bit, I do love it, there is news about Jock. And you're like, that's good, there should be, because he was really good last year. So apparently he's getting interest from the Lakers. God, he'd be a good Laker. The Hawks, where he was. The Clippers, that makes sense, they need big bodies. The Sixers, God, he would kick ass on the Philadelphia 76ers because Embiid never plays. The Cavs, don't know about that one. And the Bulls, cha-ching! Fucking banged on about this last year. Get Jock on the Bulls with his good mate Gids. The big problem is they just went and traded for Nick Claxton. So again, he's a backup, but still getting the boys together. I love it. Because now I've got Rocco and Josh Green up there in Minnesota. And Olbrich is like, I'll get to Olbrich in a second, but Jock hanging out with Gids, sign me the fuck up. Right. So that's kind of all the stuff that's been going on, my thoughts and vibes about it all. What of the actual free agents, Jim? Well, there's not that many that actually matter this year. And this is one of the weird things about the CBA, right? There is sort of like limited player movement to a degree that becoming a free agent is not financially advantageous in the way that it used to be, right? When you could sign like a 5-year deal for like X amount of money with a different team, re-signing with your own team would give you sort of inbuilt advantages. They could sign you for like a 5-year contract versus another team who can only sign you for 4. Now, all that the players, like especially like the star players, the players with the giant contracts, what they do is they sign extensions as soon as they're essentially able to keep banging on years to the end of the contract at escalating numbers, right? Or essentially like commensurate to what they would get if they became a free agent. And it sort of leaves the free agency sort of environment somewhat bereft of anyone that fucking good. So, yeah, gone are the days when you go, ooh, what's LeBron going to do? 2010, the decision, right? Chris Bosh, Amari Stoudemire. Fuck, even gone are the days of like Luol Deng and Timothy Mozgov. Jesus. But still got a couple of big names there. So before we do that, the Aussies. We've got Jock out there floating around unrestricted. Aussie Matisse, Aussie Matty T, Matisse Tybal. He is out there as an unrestricted free agent as well after his contract is expiring. That's an interesting one with Matisse because I feel like he does bring a lot of value, especially to a team like Portland that can sort of fly under the radar, re-sign him at probably a cheaper deal, add to their wing depth. As long as he stays healthy, he's a fucking defensive weapon. We know that. But outside of that, the Aussies is like Dante Exum, who was like after he got hurt, he was trade. He was part of the Wizards trade with AD, waived, so hanging out after he signed the veteran minimum last year, 3.3 mil. And Duop Reith was in much the same boat, right? On the minimum, hurt his ACL, was out for the season, waived. So interesting to see if they pick up anywhere. Wouldn't be a giant surprise if they both landed back in Europe, would be my guess. Dante is now 30. And yeah, the rehab, it's going to be really hard, I think, for him to fight back in. Dewap, maybe, if he sticks around on the edges of somewhere, shooting big. Just would have liked to have seen more from him this season. But yeah, his recovery is going to take a bit longer as well. So a bit of a tough one for Dewap. And Lachy Olbrich, two-way player, obviously with the Bulls. He's going to be on the Warriors Summer League team, so we'll see what happens after that in free agency for Lachy Olbrich. But the free agents that matter. There's only like a handful that really matter. And then we'll go through the rest of the names. LeBron James still matters, despite being my age and being awesome at basketball. Will he stay with the Lakers? He probably should. But if he can get AD on the Warriors, that'd be fucking fun. So I guess that could happen. Everything else just sort of seems a bit sideways and a bit shit. So I think he really, really, really struck gold being the third banana with Luka and Austin Reeves. The big problem was then they all got fucking hurt at different points and it was just a bit much. It would be cool to see him just stick it out. Just like, let that be your legacy. Like, I'm going to stay a Laker. And then off we go, right into the sunset. Yeah, so he might stick with the Lakers. If he goes somewhere else, probably the Warriors. Jaylen Brown is probably a big one as well because he is at least a restricted free agent insofar as it's Detroit. And he will be negotiating and somebody else can swan in and go, hey, we'll pay you this much. And he's like, cha-ching, pay me this much, Detroit, I'm going there. Very interesting situation because that's the sort of the restricted free agency, the bird right situation that you find yourself in. There's not too many teams out there with giant amounts of cap space, right? It was like basically the Nets and the Bulls at any point that could actually even carve it out. A couple of other teams can maneuver that way, but yeah, Duran really probably cost himself a fair whack of cash by being shithouse in that fucking Cavs series. So, bit of a rough one out there. And I thought he was great this year. Anyway, that's a very interesting name because, like, Detroit will keep him, but they'll try to bring him down. The Extreme Zinger Meal is actually a bit of an interesting one.
Extreme Zinger Meal.
If he sticks with the Warriors, all right, can they do the AD LeBron stuff? I don't know. I guess we're about to find out. But the Extreme Zinger Meal, I guess, when you think about, like, he was on, 30 mil this year. He's only 30 years old as well as the Extreme Zinger Meal. Can he be supercharged?
Supercharged Zinger Burger.
Don't know. But I still think he's a very, very interesting, like, he was such a weird, interesting fit when he played around Steph. Right, and Jimmy Butler, and then it all went to shit when Butler gets hurt and Draymond and stuff. Conceptually, you're just kind of like, if Butler had been there with Steph, with Draymond, with Zinger, who knows what the fuck could have happened. But unfortunately, we just never get to see it. Remember Johnny Kuminga? Who knows what the fuck's going to happen there too. But Zinger's number 3 for me because I feel like if he lands on the right team, it sort of gives them just like an interesting, oh yeah, Zinger. 4 is Norm. Norm Powell. Love Norm Powell. Detroit should be throwing the fucking kitchen sink at him. He would be perfect next to Cade. Sign me up. But it'd be interesting to see if, they get Isaiah Joe, which is like Norm Powell from Wish. But it's all right. Go get Norm. I think Norm would be very interesting on a bunch of teams. Detroit primarily among them. And if you look at like who is out there really, like Detroit could also go like in a completely different direction, like trade for like Trey Murphy or someone, right? Which they probably should do, or Michael Porter Jr. They could even still get Tyler Hero, right? Don't let him actually suit up for the Bucks. Just go get him. But still, there's a lot going on there, isn't there? It's a fun one. Number 5, it's sort of a combo because I'm a big man. Time Lord, Robert Williams, or Mitch Robinson. I feel like we've just seen Mitch Robinson like make a pretty big fucking difference in the finals and the playoffs in general. Backup big man, hoovering up offensive rebounds. Yeah, shit free throw fucking shooter. But like Mitch and Time Lord, both these sort of often injured big men who kind of, you squint and you can see a starter, but probably suited to playing backup minutes, changing the game when they come in. And I think there'll be some teams that probably go, oh, should we pay him actually a bit more than maybe we thought and go get him? Like, Boston ideally would be sort of like in the hunt for someone that isn't just Cater, I think, in terms of big men, but they've got all these other things fucking going on, right? So, but elsewhere, like, I don't know. Detroit now just don't have Isaiah Beef Stew. They're probably just going, whoa, we've got basketball, Paul. Cleveland have got their battery of big men. Like someone like Orlando getting actual size, right? But again, who's got the cash? No cash here, chop. So it's interesting to see what happens with Time Lord, other Mitch Robinson, but they're probably one of the most interesting sort of outcomes. So I guess let's go through some of the lists and sort of see who's out there. So LeBron, let's say he ends up on the Lakers. He's an unrestricted free agent, can go where he wants if he wants. Norm, let's go Detroit. Come on, stick in Detroit, Norm. Anthony Simons is an interesting one as well, because I feel like he, as a do-everything sort of guard, not great defensively, and I feel like he finally sort of started coming into his own in Boston and then got shipped off for fucking Vooch and then got injured when he was on Chicago. So, bit of a weird one. Detroit could probably also go for him if they miss out on Norm, but I feel like he'll end up like, I don't know, in terms of somewhere that's actually got money, it gets real. Like he's one of the sorts of dudes who's probably going to get like pretty squeezed, right? Golden State could use him, I guess. But yeah, I feel like he gets squeezed out. A hint might end up back on Chicago, I reckon. Despite them, well, you know, they trade for Nick Claxton. They get Caleb Wilson. They probably need that extra scoring guard. Especially after they got Dalen Swain again. Just give us a shooter, Chicago. Kobe White is back with Charlotte. Colin Sexton as well as like another sort of former Bull and Hornet as well, still floating around there. I feel like he's the sort of dude who might end up on like Golden State if they, you know, miss out on some of their other dudes. Or maybe like on the Clippers if they don't bring back Benny Mathurin. Benny Mathurin, where's he going to go? It's another one. I think, he's got his bird rights held. So Clippers could probably just bring him back if they wanted to, if they don't sort of make any other big moves. But yeah, he's on a cheap deal this year. I'd probably try to keep him on the Clippers. He sort of just gives you a little bit of something. You probably need that as well on that team, especially if you lose Kawhi. John Collins, that's a tall cocktail. There's a lot of John Collins chatter out there as well, which I like because he is a tall cocktail. It's like everywhere he goes, like the vibe for John Collins is sort of better than the actual sort of, I don't know, output of John Collins. It'd be great somewhere that needs like a bigger four, like the Sixers or something like that. The tricky part is like, I mean, it'd be great on San Antonio, right? If they can replace Harrison Barnes, who's also one, but yeah, go get John Collins. Rui Hachimura. He'd be another good one, I reckon, for the Spurs. Another big-bodied sort of four. Put next to Wemby. I don't know if he's big enough and burly enough, but it's not a bad one. There's lots of teams circling for Rui. It'd be funny if the Spurs just went and got Mitch Robinson. Who else is out there? Q Grimes. Kevin Huerta. That's just, it shows you how bad that fucking pickup was for Detroit, the Huerta one. Aussie Matty T, I mentioned him. Chris Middleton looks like he wants to go back to Dallas, though, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Tobias Harris, Detroit. If you've got Tobias Harris on your team, come on. Let's all be real here for a minute. Jordan Jeremy Clarkson, Nurk, Kelly Olynyk. I mentioned Harrison Barnes. The Duckman, Luke Kennard, I think, has got a, what's Kennard's number at? Let's bring that up there, Jim. 11 mil. So that's like an interesting one they can sort of figure out. The Lakers, I don't know if they're going to do it. Zach LaVine has got a player option. James Harden's got a player option. Draymond's got a player option. Fred VanVleet's got a player option. The one that really sticks out to me is the Walker Kessler spot, right? Like Kessler and Utah, I don't know what's going to happen there. Restricted. They've been talking about this 5-year, 140. I don't know. Okcho Baji, Vooch, Brad Beal's got a player option. And that's about it. There's not too many other names out there that you're like, oh, God, that'd be cool. Sham Wow, Bruce Brown. Yeah. It's not great. I'll tell you that much. Seth Curry, yeesh. Mamu, he's got a player option. Talk about him in a second. So, yeah, Jock actually becomes like a pretty interesting free agent for some teams looking for a backup big. So, very quickly, 5 fun predictions that probably won't come true, but it's fun to talk about it. To finish off, Golden State. After missing on AD and LeBron, they go get Brad Beal. Yes. And, I don't know, Anthony Simons and just go full guard heavy. No, Golden State, if they miss out, they should just trade back for Klay Thompson. Let's just bring him home. What are we doing here? Anyway, but Golden State trading for AD and signing LeBron would be fucking funny as, because it would instantly make the West just... When Golden State are wildly interesting, it's fun as shit, right? And if you've got Dad's Army there, that's fucking awesome. It's funny as hell. All the jokes we're going to get all season. Just do it, Golden State, just for the fucking laughs. How about, interesting fun prediction, Brooklyn throw an offer sheet at Jalen Duren. The Pistons match, go sign Norm. And Brooklyn instead end up stealing Walker Kessler. Oh, Utah, you just got. Utah going, yeah, look, man, that's okay. He's about to turn 25. You pay him all that money. San Antonio. I just mentioned replacing Harrison Barnes with John Collins. How about they trade De'Aaron Fox to Toronto for Ingram and Mamu and a protected first? Pow, 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 pow. Maybe IQ in there. But Ingram and Mamu and a first actually works for De'Aaron Fox. Because now that we've gotten to this point, like the Jaylen Brown stuff is so loud. Kawhi is so loud. Yes. Remember when the Spurs were losing the finals and they had to trade Fox? That died down quick. But yeah, Toronto, like maybe jumping off IQ. I don't know. Can you have Fox and bring IQ off the bench? He'd be good in Toronto with De'Aaron Fox. I don't know why San Antonio would want Ingram, but Mamu would be kind of handy. Just saying. How about Jaylen Brown to the New Orleans Pelicans for Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Jordan Poole? Look, I don't think you can actually do it because Poole makes too much money, which is kind of funny, right? But there's still enough there that can make you go, Like the simple idea of just going, right, if we get rid of Jaylen Brown and the amount of cash that he's making, can we at least sort of swing something here that sort of sends out Trey Murphy, who's on 27 mil, Herb, who's on 14, and then you got Poole, who just makes too much money. He's on 34. And so essentially, it's like a 4 mil-ish kind of difference. But if I'm Boston, I kind of want to have, those dudes in it. So Boston has suddenly got to send out a little bit of something. And the big problem is they don't really have much of the something. Like suddenly Sam Hauser has to probably go into that one. And then you're eating into your depth. Despite getting Poole, he's like a bit of a fucking non-entity at this point. And then suddenly it's only Trey Murphy and Herb for Jaylen Brown and Sam Hauser. And at that point, you're kind of like, we'd just rather do the Denver thing. But because it's New Orleans and it's big old dummy Joe Dumas, you can probably fleece them for a couple of picks. Right? And just sort of start just fucking eating into their pick stuff, which would be pretty funny. Because what have they got? I think they've got most of their picks from here on out, from 27 onwards. So, yeah, there you go. You go 27 and 29, and then you've made it sing if you want them to get off Jaylen Brown. So, yeah, send him to New Orleans. You want to have your own team. Here's Zion, who's full of gumbo. DeJounte Murray's got one working leg. And Joe Dumas is running the show. Enjoy that, Jaylen Brown. And then finally, the final fun prediction is that Ja Morant still gets traded to Sacramento. Oh, God, that'd be funny. They just fucking draft Acuff and then they go and trade for Jar anyway. I don't know. The big problem is there's so few teams out there that actually need a point guard that Ja Morant, as I've said, just fucking stay in Memphis. It'd be fine. But apparently if he and the coach fucking hate each other, then, yeah, you're going to have problems. I don't think he works in Houston, especially with the money, but that would be kind of electric. It's a bit of a weird one. I still reckon like he and Devin Booker would be pretty funny in Phoenix, but they're fucked and they've just made their big trade by getting that piece of shit Miles Bridges. They got nothing else to trade. Like Utah don't need him. OKC obviously don't. Minnesota's now got LaMelo. Denver, you don't need that. Toronto is still probably one of my more fun ones just because it gets a bit weird and they kind of don't have that dude. But yeah, he just doesn't shoot well enough, I reckon, to put next to Scoob. The Bucks, like just send him into purgatory. Get a bit of depth back, maybe. I don't know. There's so few options on the ground. Charlotte, like getting off of LaMelo and getting Ja would be funny as hell. But yeah, I still think the funniest would be Ja still getting traded to Sacramento and then just ruining Darius Acuff. So there you go. All right, that's it. Press the button, Jim. All right, so that's basically our free agency primer. I don't expect a giant amount to happen. I think you'll get bits and bobs of news over the next day and a bit before it all kicks off very early our time. Wednesday morning, right? So what we'll probably see is a few more, like the flood of sort of transactions tomorrow. We probably won't do a show tomorrow. Again, I've got the squids all day tomorrow, but like if anything crazy happens, I'll probably jump on and sort of do a quick reactions show, but that's essentially to sort of set you up, right? There's not a giant amount of big names when it comes to unrestricted free agents or big names that could be moving. LeBron, Duran, Norm, Zinger, right? It gets real thin on the ground. But if we get a Kawhi trade or a Jaylen Brown trade, we'll probably jump on and sort of talk it out. But otherwise, yeah, we'll get to free agency on Wednesday morning. You'll get that original sort of flood of deals that we always get. And then it'll sort of slow to a trickle and we'll sort of work our way through it. So, yeah. So I reckon we might not be back on deck tomorrow, but we'll be back on deck definitely, obviously, on Wednesday. So, does that sound good? Good. Great. Interesting to see what happens in the next 24 hours, I'll tell you that much. So make sure you're following NBA Straya on Twitter, Facey, IG, TikTok, and YouTube, of course. Get around NFL Straya. Went out with Gaz on Friday night. It was good. Talking out NFL gear in our usual planning session, which involves a million beers and yelling at each other. Jez and I, Footy Unfilterated. Great stuff if you love your AFL. And, of course, Jim does Supercoach. Go check out all of those on their own podcast feeds and on YouTube. You can help support the show. buymeacoffee.com/NBA Australia. Get into that. You get to join the Dead Set Legends Club where you get exclusive content every month. I'm going to do some more writing as well for that on the off season. So check that out. buymeacoffee.com/NBA Australia. Big thanks always go to From Oslo for the intro and outro song, as well as to Joshua De Laurentiis, Fascinated Goldmines, Ramshackle Army, Iowa, Section Green, and Dozers. They're buying on the tunes you hear on the show. Smash them on your streaming platform of choice. NBA Australia supports Australian bands. All right, that's it. Nothing in this one. It's very late. I've already talked a lot and my voice is cooked. So we will catch you on Wednesday, you dickheads. This is NBA Australia saying look after yourselves, would ya? Hug your mates and later, hosen.